Hi everyone, this is Kathy from Greenhaven Farm. Just wanted to give you a quick tour of our little production facility here and give you an idea of what some of the plants will be offering for the fall sale. The shade plants are in another location, but I can show you some of the sun plants. Some things we're carrying are the same as what we had in the spring, but most of them are different varieties. So just to give you an idea, this is in the background there, you can see this is where we do our rooted cuttings, so it's a mist system for that. And we have all of our pots and trays and plants spread all around. It's a little mixed in with my vegetable garden. So some of the varieties that we're going to be having, we have cardinal flower, which is just about to bloom. You can see one of the flowers getting ready there. We have penstemon, which should get a nice red fall color. We have the obedient plant that we had in the spring. We have it again now in the fall. And also the white achillea. As for new plants, we're offering this agastache. It's the native agastache, but it's got the yellow foliage version. And then we also are carrying this Heliopsis called Burning Hearts. So it has this nice purplish foliage and it gets these wonderful orangey flowers on it. There's a little guy visiting. Maybe I can get a shot of him, I'm not sure. Oh, just took off. We'll have milkweed, both tuberosa, and I'll show you the incarnata swamp milkweed. Asters, so these are bluebird aster, smooth aster. Beautiful blue flowers that bees really love. We have another Heliopsis summer sun. This is one of the ones that we had previously, but it gets beautiful yellow flowers and it's not as tall, so it tends to stay more upright. Here's some stock plants. It's always nice when they bloom. This is the phlox that we offered last spring and we'll be offering again next spring. But it's a butterfly magnet. Usually it has, swallowtails really seem to like this one. These are mellow yellow echinacеas. We'll be offering 3 kinds of echinacеas. I can show you the other 2 in a minute. These are Baptisia. It's a solar flare prairie blues, a pretty one. Oh, wait, there's a butterfly on the phlox. As an aside, there he goes. Actually, there's 2 of them. Wow. This is a beautiful both Baptisia that gets yellow flowers kind of flushed with purple. And it's best planted in the fall, actually, so it can get busy putting its roots down so you get better, faster floral growth in the spring. This is a native grass called Black Hawks, and as it ages it gets purpler and purpler until late in the fall it's almost black. It's a big blue stem actually. And in the back there we have a bunch of fireworks goldenrod, which is absolutely critical for some of our native bees. They need goldenrod in order to lay their eggs. And we also have several chrysanthemums that are actually perennials, so they bloom every year. They do not have to be pinched back. They have a lovely apricot flower and they just come back year after year. You don't have to purchase them over and over again. Rudbeckia, which is black-eyed Susan, and this is another really nice ground cover for part shade. It gets these beautiful blue flowers, and then as it gets colder the foliage turns like a red burgundy color. So sometimes you have the blue flowers and the burgundy foliage at the same time. It's very pretty. And over here, this is a shade cover. We have my favorite heuchera. This is Heuchera citronelle, and it does really well in our climate because it has the villosa in it. And it just really adds like a pop of brightness to a shady spot. It's very nice. And this is my favorite Japanese anemone called Honorine Joubert. And it gets these, I don't know, hopefully it'll be flowering by the time the sale starts. You can tell I'm great at aiming this camera, can't you? but it gets these beautiful white flowers with these fluffy yellow centers. And they bloom late, so the foliage usually looks good all year. And this is Calmenthea, and it has done great for me. I've had tons of rabbits this year, more than I've ever seen, and they do not touch this at all. It just blooms and blooms, can take drought, does its thing. It's a great little front of the border plant. And this is another native plant, Stokes aster it's called, its common name. It gets these fluffy blue flowers. Hopefully, there's one with some buds. Hopefully it'll be in bloom so you can see it for yourself. It blooms twice a year actually, earlier in the summer and then usually around now. So you get kind of double bang for your buck. Another native grass. This is Prairie Blue's little blue stem. Beautiful, like sort of almost turquoisey color that turns kind of pinky red as it gets colder in the fall. This is another native aster, Aster cordifolius. It gets clusters of very small flowers. They're all together in a cluster, and bees really love this plant. Some ground cover dianthus gets a bunch of these, usually in spring and then again in fall. These little tiny flowers, but tons of them all over the surface of it. Another good rabbit-resistant plant. This is the salvia, and this is a little bit shorter variety. Doesn't get quite as tall, but it's a good rebloomer. It blooms, if you cut off the old blooms, it'll just keep blooming through the summer. We have a few of the wine cups, such a cute little flower. We'll have more of these in the spring. We don't have too many of them right now, but they're a good front of the border or over a wall, and they like really tough conditions. And over here we have another Rudbeckia triloba, which is brown-eyed Susan, sweet cone flower, sometimes people call it. It has a smaller flower, but more of them, and it's more round than a black-eyed Susan. It's kind of like more button-shaped, but it's a bigger profusion of smaller flowers. Generally liked a little more by bees than the regular black-eyed Susan. This little plant here is Zizia aurea. Some people call it golden Alexander's, and it blooms in the spring with these big umbrals of yellow flowers. And it's a good plant too for swallow-tailed caterpillars. They'll use this as a food source. These are Echinacea powwow wildberry. We don't have a ton of them. We'll have more of them in the fall. It's a little bit smaller variety with really dark pink flowers. And this is Echinacea Cheyenne Spirit. Quite a few of these. Don't tell anyone. I've already actually cut some of the flowers off of these and brought them in the house. Beautiful colors. It's a range of different colors from yellow to red, basically. Orange, pinks, purpley, yellow, purpley pink, and a kind of more corally pink. Very pretty combination of flowers. Liatris, which is a kind of a tall purple spire of flowers, really well liked by bees. And this is, you can see we have a couple of beds of swamp milkweed, and the butterflies have been on this laying eggs. So if you end up buying one, you may get a little buddy to take home with you. We'll have to check around and make sure that caterpillar stays on there. So that's a few of the plants that we're planning to offer. We have a bunch of shade plants too. So if you get the chance, stop by September 19th, 8:30 to 2. Try to come early. Last time we sold out early, so hopefully we can get you something that you can plant in your garden and be all ready for greatness next year. Take care. Bye.